honestly just got so triggered by Caitlin Clark's golf debut, and it is no fault of hers that I got upset. It is the fault of the WNBA, because the LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season. They did it all correct in literally one day.
One golf swing. That's all it took to expose everything we've been saying for months. While Caitlin Clark was busy breaking the internet at the Annika Pro-Am somewhere in New York, Commissioner Cathy Engelbert was watching her worst nightmare unfold in real time. The LPGA just accomplished in 24 hours what the WNBA couldn't figure out in an entire season. And the proof, Tiger Woods couldn't look away. Nelly Korda was grinning ear to ear. Golf Channel went live mid-round just to follow Caitlin's swing. Meanwhile, the league that supposedly owned her sat in complete silence while another sport stole their brightest star. This isn't about golf. This is about respect. This is about a player who carried an entire league on her shoulders only to watch that same league fail her at every single turn. And when she finally found a stage that actually appreciated her talent, the contrast became impossible to ignore. Many of you have been saying this for weeks. The WNBA doesn't know how to protect their own star. Well, the LPGA just proved you right. If you believe the story behind the story matters, smash that like button right now. It tells us we're on the right track, because what happened in Florida wasn't just a celebrity golf event. It was a master class in promotion that left the WNBA looking completely lost. Let's filter out the noise and connect the dots. The Annika Pro-Am happens every year. It's a standard LPGA event in Florida where professional golfers pair up with celebrities for a fun exhibition round. Nothing particularly special. Except this year, they invited Caitlin Clark. And the moment that decision was made, everything changed. LPGA leadership understood something fundamental that somehow escaped Cathy Engelbert's entire front office. They understood that bringing in the biggest name in women's sports wasn't a threat to their players. It was an opportunity for their entire sport. Think about what the LPGA did right. They didn't hide Caitlin. They promoted her appearance everywhere. They put cameras on her from the first tee. They paired her with Annika Sorenstam and Nelly Korda, two absolute legends who welcomed her with open arms. They let her interact with Tiger Woods. They encouraged fan engagement. They made it feel like an event, not an obligation. And what happened? The numbers tell the whole story.
What that could do for their sport. They understand that let's say 1,000 new eyeballs, 10,000 new eyeballs show up. If only they could get a fraction of those new eyeballs to become fans, they understand that's a win. They understand that that's a bonus. They understand that's not the opportunity that comes across them every single day. So they need to capitalize on this moment. We also had the speaking engagement that Caitlin Clark took part in last season. I'm assuming we're going to run it all back. We're going to run it all back. We're going to have the speaking engagement, the panel.
Within minutes of Caitlin's first swing, social media exploded. Caitlin Clark Golf trended worldwide. LPGA ticket sales jumped 100%. Their website crashed from traffic. Golf Channel ratings spiked higher than they'd been in years. SportsCenter led with golf coverage. Bleacher Report, ESPN, every major outlet covered it wall to wall. And for the first time in modern history, golf was out-trending basketball on a weekday afternoon. You were onto something when you noticed how different this felt. Because the LPGA didn't just capitalize on Caitlin's star power, they amplified it. They understood that even if only a fraction of those new eyeballs became permanent fans, that's a massive win. They treated her appearance like the gift it was. They rolled out the red carpet. They let their best players share the spotlight. They created an atmosphere where Caitlin could shine without anyone feeling threatened. It was textbook sports marketing, and it made the WNBA's entire season look like amateur hour. Let's rewind to what Caitlin endured just months ago. From the moment she entered the WNBA, she was a target. Opposing players fouled her relentlessly. Hard fouls, dangerous fouls, fouls 94 feet from the basket when she didn't even have the ball. The league barely intervened. When fans complained, they were told to calm down. When analysts pointed out the targeting, they were accused of overreacting. When Caitlyn's father expressed concern for her safety, the response from league insiders was dismissive at best. Meanwhile, Commissioner Engelbert seemed more concerned with managing narratives than protecting her biggest asset. She warned Caitlyn about distractions. She emphasized league image. She talked about representing the WNBA properly, but she never once stepped up to shut down the physical targeting. She never made it clear that cheap shots against the league's biggest draw would face real consequences. She let it continue because somewhere in that decision-making process, protecting the status quo mattered more than protecting Caitlin Clark.
LPGA understand what's great for business. Not what's good for business, what's great. It'd be nice if the WNBA could get with the program. It'd be nice if you didn't allow your greatest asset to get beat up and hacked and fouled 94 feet and be targeted since day one of stepping into the league. It'd be nice, it'd be smart, you'd be better off, but you guys are gonna do what you want to do.
The jealousy was obvious. Veteran players made passive-aggressive comments about media coverage. Social media influencers in the WNBA ecosystem spent more time criticizing Caitlyn's fan base than celebrating her record-breaking performances. The narrative became toxic. Caitlyn was overhyped. Her fans were annoying. The attention was unfair to other players. Never mind that she led the league in assists. Never mind that she broke the rookie scoring record. Never mind that she was the reason arenas were finally selling out. The league allowed the resentment to fester because they were terrified of upsetting anyone who wasn't named Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin stayed quiet through all of it. She smiled for cameras. She deflected tough questions. She praised her teammates. She gave credit to veterans. She did everything the league asked her to do. She was the perfect ambassador. And in return, she got targeted, fouled, mocked, and told that her success was somehow bad for women's basketball. That's the environment Cathy Engelbert created. Not intentionally, perhaps, but through inaction, through prioritizing feelings over growth, through refusing to embrace what made the WNBA relevant for the first time in years. So when the LPGA came calling with an invitation to the Annika Pro-Am, Caitlyn said yes. And why wouldn't she? Here was a sport that wanted to celebrate her. Here was an organization that understood cross-sport promotion works both ways. Here was an opportunity to be appreciated instead of tolerated. The WNBA had their chance. They spent an entire season proving they weren't ready for the moment Caitlin Clark brought them. The LPGA was ready on day one. Reading between the lines reveals something deeper here. This wasn't just about one golf event. This was about exposure. Every clip of Caitlyn's swing went viral. Every interaction with golf legends got millions of views. Every smile, every autograph, every moment of genuine joy radiated across social media. And the contrast with her WNBA experience became impossible to miss. In golf, she was welcomed. In basketball, she was targeted. In golf, legends praised her. In basketball, competitors dismissed her. In golf, the organization promoted her. In basketball, the commissioner barely mentioned her name. The fans noticed. The numbers don't lie. Engagement for LPGA content featuring Caitlyn dwarfed anything the WNBA produced all season. And that's when the panic set in. Connecting the dots reveals the real crisis facing Commissioner Engelbert. This wasn't about losing Caitlyn to golf. It was about watching another sport execute the exact strategy WNBA fans had been begging for all season, and doing it flawlessly. Sources close to the league suggest emergency meetings were called. Sponsors started asking uncomfortable questions. Ownership groups wanted explanations, because suddenly, the narrative everyone tried to suppress was validated with receipts. Drop a comment right now. Tell us what the WNBA should have done differently, because your voice matters in this conversation. The league needs to hear that fans weren't imagining things. The LPGA just proved every criticism was legitimate. Let's talk about what happened behind the scenes once those numbers started rolling in. According to multiple reports, LPGA partnerships inquiries exploded. Brands that never touched golf were suddenly interested. Why? Because Caitlin Clark brought an audience that transcends sport. She brings young women. She brings families. She brings casual fans who became diehards. That's the demographic every league wants. And the LPGA captured it in one afternoon, while the WNBA spent months alienating it. Nelly Korda's reaction said everything. She called Caitlin sweet and nice. She mentioned they'd been messaging on Instagram. She talked about how incredible it was to see Caitlin's influence bringing new people to golf. There was no jealousy, no resentment, no passive aggression, just genuine appreciation for what this moment meant. Tiger Woods called her a natural. Annika Sorenstam welcomed her like family. The golf world embraced Caitlin Clark the way championship athletes should be embraced, with respect and celebration. Compare that to the WNBA locker room culture Caitlin navigated all season. Veterans who felt threatened by her popularity. Competitors who targeted her physically because the league wouldn't protect her. Media members who spent more time policing her fan base than covering her achievements. It was exhausting just watching it unfold. Living through it must have been suffocating. So when golf offered fresh air, she breathed deep.
I know this is one of the best weeks of our lives here. We come here and we see everybody we know, but also, be part of the event. So who knows what Cambridge have in store for next year? I'm curious, but it's going to be hard to beat. So, but so far so good.
Oh, Dan.
But here's where it gets really interesting. We're getting into speculation territory, but multiple sources suggest that other WNBA players took notice. Sophie Cunningham reportedly started exploring golf partnerships. Other stars began asking their agents about cross-sport opportunities. Because if the LPGA could boost their profile this much from one event, imagine what a full partnership could do. The WNBA's failure to capitalize on Caitlin wasn't just hurting Caitlin. It was showing every player in the league that their commissioner didn't understand modern sports marketing. And Cathy Engelbert couldn't hide anymore. While she'd spent the season managing internal politics and trying to keep veteran players happy, another league swooped in and showed her how it's actually done. You promote the star, you celebrate the moment, you let the rising tide lift all boats. It's not complicated. The LPGA figured it out in one planning meeting. The WNBA couldn't figure it out in 10 years. Social media lit up with theories about what this means for Caitlin's future. Is she done with basketball? Will she split time between sports? Could she actually go pro in golf? The speculation ran wild. And you know what? Let it run. Because that speculation means engagement. It means attention. It means people care. The WNBA should have been generating this level of buzz every single week. Instead, they let golf steal their thunder with one celebrity tournament. The broader implications are staggering. Ticket sales for upcoming LPGA events jumped across the board, not just events Caitlin might attend, all events, because new fans discovered they actually enjoy watching golf. They discovered Nelly Korda is incredible. They discovered the LPGA has compelling storylines and amazing athletes. The LPGA gained permanent fans from temporary exposure. That's the textbook definition of successful cross-promotion. And it happened because they weren't afraid of the moment. Meanwhile, the WNBA community was buzzing about what they just witnessed. Fans who defended Caitlin all season felt vindicated. Critics who claimed she was overhyped looked foolish. Players who targeted her looked petty. And Commissioner Engelbert looked like someone who fundamentally misunderstood the assignment. Her job wasn't to manage egos. Her job was to grow the sport, and she just watched another sport grow by borrowing her league's biggest asset for 24 hours. If these reports are accurate, and multiple industry sources say they are, sponsors are already shifting budgets, not away from the WNBA entirely, but toward individual player deals instead of league-wide partnerships. Because why invest in a league that can't capitalize on its own stars when you can invest directly in those stars during their off-season activities? It's a devastating indictment of league leadership, and it's exactly what happens when you prioritize politics over performance. Caitlin handled it all with grace. She praised both the WNBA and LPGA. She talked about how special it was to be part of the golf event. She expressed gratitude for the opportunity. She didn't trash anyone. She didn't gloat. She just enjoyed herself in an environment that celebrated her instead of tolerating her. And that restraint somehow made the contrast even more obvious. She didn't need to say anything. The footage said it all. The panic in New York must have been overwhelming, because this wasn't a PR crisis that could be spun away. This was proof, video proof, engagement proof, revenue proof. The LPGA showed their entire playbook, and it worked perfectly. They promoted the star. They elevated their sport. They created must-see content. They converted casual interest into genuine fandom. They did everything right, and the WNBA had no excuse for why they did everything wrong. Here's what Cathy Engelbert needs to understand. This isn't about Caitlin choosing golf over basketball. This is about athletes choosing respect over resentment. It's about stars choosing organizations that appreciate them over organizations that fear them. It's about the next generation watching which leagues celebrate greatness and which leagues suppress it. The LPGA won that battle decisively, and they won it in one day. So where does this leave us? Caitlin Clark just proved she's bigger than any single sport. She's a cultural phenomenon who drives engagement wherever she goes. The WNBA had her locked in for an entire season and barely maximized 10% of her potential. The LPGA had her for one afternoon and created generational content. That gap in execution is embarrassing, and it should terrify every WNBA executive who cares about the league's future. If you believe the WNBA just learned the most expensive lesson in sports marketing history, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this story is far from over. We're tracking how leagues respond to star power, who protects their athletes, and what happens when commissioners choose politics over profits. The next video breaks down exactly how the WNBA can recover from this disaster, but only if they're willing to admit they got it wrong. Caitlin Clark, from courts to courses, proving that when one door stays closed, you don't wait around. You find a window that's actually open, and sometimes that window leads to something better than you ever imagined. Until next time, keep questioning the narrative, because the real story is always deeper than the headlines.